to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
It all began with the slam of a hand against the mediation table. Papers rattled, the mediator froze, and the tense silence in the room was shattered by Teyana's voice echoing with raw emotion. "You'll never see my kids again if you keep this up." In that instant, every lawyer, assistant, and even Aaron Pierre, seated quietly at the far end of the room, understood that this session was about to spiral beyond anyone's control. For weeks, the mediation had been billed as the last chance for Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert to find some semblance of peace before dragging their conflict into a full courtroom battle. But peace had never really been in the cards. Love had turned to betrayal, trust had crumbled, and two children were caught in the middle of an emotional tug-of-war. And Aaron Pierre, quietly observing from the corner, only intensified the tension. To understand why the room had become so charged, you need to rewind. Once upon a time, Teyana and Iman were celebrated as the golden couple, those who seemed to embody true love. From reality shows to music videos, NBA sidelines to red carpets, they were young, stylish, and seemingly unstoppable. Behind the perfect smiles, however, were private arguments, nights of distance, and whispered rumors of infidelity. By the time their split became public, fans weren't shocked, they were heartbroken. Yet, the current conflict was more than a broken relationship. When children are involved, breakups don't end with a simple unfollow on Instagram. They don't end with dividing money or selling houses. Custody disputes carry into courtrooms and mediation rooms, with lawyers circling like predators while two parents attempt to prove who loves their children more. That was the hope for mediation, a quiet, private negotiation designed to prevent further escalation. But inside that room, quiet was the last thing anyone felt. Teyana entered with her lawyer, calm yet firm, exuding an energy that suggested she was already ready for battle. Across from her, Iman's shoulders were tense, jaw clenched, eyes hollowed from sleepless nights. And there was Aaron, a silent presence, whose mere attendance shifted the dynamics of the room. The mediator tried to establish ground rules: no interruptions, respectful communication, and a fair chance for each parent to voice their concerns. In theory, it sounded reasonable. But the moment Iman began to speak, the room shifted. Leaning forward, his voice tight with frustration, he said, "I just want more time with my kids. I'm not asking for anything crazy. I just want to be a father in their lives the way I should be." Teyana's response was sharp and measured. "I want my kids to be safe. I want stability. I want to know that when they're with you, they're not in the middle of chaos." Immediately, the tension escalated. Iman accused her of portraying him as reckless and unstable. Teyana countered, citing nights he hadn't been home and choices that had placed the family second. The mediator attempted to intervene, but it was like holding back a storm with bare hands. Then Aaron spoke. Quiet, measured, yet powerful. "The kids need stability, and they've had that with Teyana and us." The words cut like a knife. Iman's head snapped toward him, eyes flashing with anger. "Us? Don't talk about my kids like they're yours." Aaron didn't raise his voice, but his words carried undeniable weight. "I'm not trying to take your place, but let's not pretend they don't see me every day. They know who's there and who's not." Gasoline had been thrown on a fire. Iman slammed his hand against the table, his lawyer whispering for calm. Teyana's lawyer interjected, insisting Aaron was simply supporting Teyana, not parenting. But the damage had been done. The idea that another man was seen as stable in his children's lives shattered Iman's composure. That's when Teyana lost it. This wasn't about Aaron versus Iman, it was about years of sacrifice. Years of carrying the weight of the family, feeling unseen, and now sitting across from her ex-husband, who was not only fighting for visitation but for control. Something inside her snapped. Her voice rose. "Don't sit here and act like you were there. Don't sit here and act like you carried what I carried. These kids are my life, and I will not let you drag them into your mess." Iman tried to respond, but Teyana cut him off. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her voice remained firm. "If you think for 1 second that I'm going to let you play games with them, you're wrong. You'll never see my kids again if you keep this up." With that, she pushed back her chair, grabbed her bag, and stormed out. The door slammed with a resonance louder than any words shouted in the room. Chaos followed. Iman sat stunned, gripping the edge of the table. His lawyer reminded him that legally, Teyana couldn't simply cut off visitation. The reassurance meant nothing. His children were slipping away, and he didn't know how to stop it. Aaron leaned back, expression unreadable, some claiming he smirked, others insisting he looked uncomfortable, realizing he had triggered the explosion. His presence had undeniably shifted the room's balance, and Ayman knew it. Once the story leaked online, the internet erupted. Fans rushed to social media. Some sided with Teyana, hailing her as a protective mother. Hashtags like #ProtectTeyana and #StrongMom trended. Others supported Ayman, furious at his portrayal as an absent father. #StandWithAyman gained traction. Legal analysts weighed in, clarifying that while Teyana's words were fiery, they lacked legal weight if a court order existed. Judges, however, noted such emotional outbursts, which could influence custody outcomes. Beneath the legal analysis lay the human truth: 2 children caught in a storm they never asked for, 2 parents who loved them fiercely but struggled to find common ground, and a new man whose presence fueled the fire. Teyana's supporters praised her resolve. Ayman's supporters sympathized with a father seemingly pushed out of his children's lives. And in the middle, silence prevailed. Teyana had not spoken publicly since the mediation. Ayman had not vented in interviews. Aaron had not posted cryptic stories. The silence was louder than the fight itself, signaling that the next chapter would unfold behind closed doors. The failed mediation meant the battle was heading to court. A judge would soon determine not only visitation schedules but the degree of influence each parent could exert. Would Teyana follow through on her threat? Would Ayman escalate to trial? Would Aaron's role expand or backfire? One thing was certain: the storm was far from over. This wasn't a conflict solvable with apologies or compromise. When children are at the center, the stakes are unbearably high, and consequences linger long after the court session ends. Love may fade, trust may break irreparably, and the battle continues in custody hearings, whispered disagreements, and the silent confusion in a child's eyes asking, "Why can't we all be together?" This is a storm that doesn't simply pass. It reshapes lives, routines, and relationships. Ayman and Aaron may believe they are fighting for justice, love, or the right course, but it is the children who feel the ripples most acutely. Their stability, identity, and family dynamics are being rewritten with every court date, piece of evidence, and judge's decision. Teyana stands in the eye of this storm, torn between love and guilt, fear and responsibility. She carries the weight of knowing that no matter what happens, someone will lose and her children will carry that loss. Custody battles leave no clean victories. Emotional scars outlast court rulings. These disputes don't merely divide families, they define them. And sometimes the damage is permanent.